On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Senate is worthless. They suck. Here's the thing, guys. I'm going to say it. If we don't get a fair election, we're screwed. Period. End of story. If the next election is not a fair election, really, if the primaries aren't fair, for that matter, we're screwed. We're going to be stuck with more of these rhino bastards, more of these John Thunes, more of these Schumers. We've only got like 5 senators that are worth a crap. The rest of them suck. They pass this crap-ass vote and then go running off into the night. Want to make sure they get their vacation in. Fucking loser, Thune. You suck so hard, dude. I gave you every opportunity, mofo. Every opportunity. Yeah, you failure. Failure. Anyways, whatever. We'll take care of that when the appropriate time comes. Bastard. Dan Scavino Jr. posted this. I think all of us, especially me, need to listen and hear this right now. What separates the winners from the losers is how a person reacts to each new twist of fate. Donald J. Trump. And that's true. I actually love in the movie The Replacements, Gene Hackman asks Keanu Reeves' character, he goes, you know what separates the difference between the winners and the losers? And Keanu Reeves' answer was awesome. He goes, the score. Good point. Great movie, by the way, if you guys haven't seen it. Major fire at a egg facility again. Yeah, strange. Why would it be a very renewable source of protein that seems to be having these issues? They tried to kill all the chickens with the bird flu. I mean, this is just, it's strange when it happens. You would think chickens just don't catch fire that easy, I would think. But, fires can happen anywhere. Electrical and everything else, who knows? It's a big-ass fire, though, from what it looks like. Let's see if this gives it any feel. Well, there's not going to be a whole lot of that left, is there? That's pretty much toast. Lawmakers are discussing this deficit to GDP target as a starting point. This is asinine. Again, this is the lawmakers. Our Congress sucks. So Congress right now is freaking out, and they should be, because we have $39 trillion debt, and literally within 50 days, it's going to be $40 trillion. We are dying badly. We are bleeding money. Nobody's trying to stop it. Trump is. Trump's administration is. We've got the Supreme Court and the courts trying everything they can in their power to continue business as usual. And we see Congress doing nothing to help. They're having all sorts of, commissions and investigations, which don't do anything. Congress is an inept branch of the government. Congress, as I like to frequently refer to the 3 stools, right? The 3 legs of the stool. What Congress is, it's the leg of the stool that's like that much shorter than all the others. So every time you sit on the stool, you're like, trying to balance on the 2, because you don't want to get that 3rd leg and fall forward, or whatever side it happens to be on. So here's their brilliant idea. We're bleeding money, folks. We've got to figure out a way to stop it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to limit growth to 3% of GDP. It can exceed GDP by 3%, which means we can go in debt further, but barely. At least the way I'm hearing it. Granted, I understand a percentage of increase in GDP equals to more tax revenue, yada, yada, but that's supposed to be changing. Anyways, this is all part of the collapse. The understanding of that is important because we're living through it. It is one of the reasons why I frequently talk about gold company. I mean, if you can get into precious metals or at least protect something, that's awesome. If not, tools, know-how, these are things that are going to matter. So trust me, if you're somebody that knows how to do stuff, you know how to lay drywall, you know how to do electrical, maybe you're older, but you could talk someone through it, maybe show them a couple things. You're going to be extraordinarily valuable, trust me. So Any of you old timers that got some serious skills, remember, your time's coming. Now, Congress sucks. You think I don't feel that way? Donald Trump truthed this out. This is just kind of starting the whole bit of nonsense that played out over the last 24 hours. The radical left Democrats and their leader, crying Chuck Schumer, have made it very clear where they stand, and that is on the side of criminal illegal aliens and not the American people. They are refusing to fund immigration enforcement unless the Republicans agree to their open borders policies, which will never happen, ever happen again. They almost destroyed our country, allowing 25 million people to enter from prisons, mental institutions, and insane asylums, those that are drug dealers and thousands of murderers, many of whom killed more than one person. Because the Democrats have recklessly created a true national crisis, I am using my authority under the law to protect our great country, as I always will do. Therefore, I am going to sign an order instructing the Secretary of Homeland Security, Mark Wayne Mullen, to immediately pay our TSA agents in order to address this emergency situation and to quickly stop the Democrat chaos at the airports. It is not an easy thing to do, but I am going to do it. I want to thank our hardworking TSA agents and also ICE for the incredible help they have given us at the airports. I will not allow the radical left Democrats to hold our country hostage any longer. Thank you for your attention to the matter. This post last night, or late yesterday, I think it was roughly, 3:30 my time, so it would have been 6:30 Eastern time. Trump posted this. In the middle of the night, the Senate passes their stupid bill and then flees town. 3 a.m. in the morning, we find out. So just to cover some of the fun that the Uniparty, 95% of Senate support. Fugitive migrant wanted for deadly hit and run entered U.S. illegally at least twice. Deadly hit and run, this guy, Ecuadorian. Transgender illegal immigrant receives just 6 months in prison for sexually assaulting a schoolboy. Normally they say this gets, 3 to 7 years? 2 to 7 years? Something to that effect. The judge gives him 6 months. Sexually assaulting a young boy, 14-year-old apparently. Illegal immigrant charged with violent rape of a 5-year-old. Carlos Aguilar Reynoso. He's from Guatemala. Been ordered removed. I'm sure the Dems are throwing him back out on the street. This is what the Democrats keep doing. This is what the rhinos support. Maybe Lindsey Graham's a part of that. My guess is Lindsey Graham just wants to bomb them. I still want to get rid of his ass too. ICE agents rescues unresponsive toddler at JFK Airport. Isn't that interesting? Amid all the chaos going on, this dude realizes there's a problem. Unfortunately, due to the way things work out, it all happened behind a pillar. So you see the agent running in. He's like, whoa, buddy, come back here. Let's take care of this. And then let's park behind this pole where nobody can see us anymore. Well, everybody can see them. We can't. Now, apparently the child was choking or something because the officer performed the Heimlich maneuver on the child and was able to get him. But he noticed he went lifeless, and then the father started panicking. So because of this TSA's agent's quick response, this ICE agent's quick response, forgive me, TSA probably wouldn't have done a damn thing. They're not trained for that. ICE is. Isn't that weird? So yeah, eventually, and then you kind of hear like claps here in a sec. So this is, I think, the kid's better. And you can kind of hear some woos. Needless to say, it's beautiful. We need more of that kind of stuff happening, that's for sure. So yeah, end of the airport misery in sight as Senate approves deal to end DHS shutdown with without Dem immigration demands. But they aren't funding ICE and they aren't funding Border Patrol. Senate Democrats defeat amendment to require photo ID. So they didn't even make sure that was in there. The SAVE Act wasn't in there. Nothing. Senate did nothing. Nothing. and then they flee. House Democrats appear ready to back Senate DHS funding bill. That's not really true from what we're kind of hearing. In fact, the House is not real happy about what's going on, and we've got some stuff to hear about. So we'll play. First off, this is Senate Mike Lee, who's probably one of the ones we need to keep. I don't know why it keeps looking so different to me. I forget what his hair used to look like. I got to pull up some old pictures of him because I keep remembering him the way he was, and I keep seeing him the way he is, and I don't remember what he was. I don't remember how he used to look. He just looks weird now. I don't know what the frick it is. It's tripping me out, people.
Every time we allow Senate Democrats to do something horrible and then immediately leave town and take a recess, perhaps, I don't know, like a 2-week recess with no repercussions, without having to work harder, without any kind of meaningful victory to push back on them. We reward that behavior. We guarantee it. We set it in stone. We encourage more of it in the future. This is very dangerous. We're $39 trillion in debt because of this. They're stalling out the Save America Act because of this. And the American people can't handle this anymore. So I think this is a terrible idea to continue to reward them, to coddle them, to allow the zombie filibuster to continue, not make them work for it, then let them go on a 2-week vacation. Let me know if you agree.
No, hell no, I don't agree. You're right. You're 100% right. And thank you for calling it out. Thank you for being one of the only ones that seems to make any damn sense. Where's Ted Cruz on this one? Sure, he ran his punk ass home. So, Leader Thune is being eviscerated. He's pissed everybody off. For right good reason.
The Senate burning the midnight.
Did I mention he's fucking worthless?
Oil just passing funding for most of the Department of Homeland Security. For detail on what this all means, let's turn to our expert, Fox News Chief Congressional Correspondent Chad Pergram. Joins us from the Capitol. Chad, we just got it passed, right?
Well, they just passed this through the Senate. This is something that they had been working on for hours and hours and hours, and they did it without even a formal roll call vote. They did it with just a skeleton crew inside the chamber here, and this might be the beginning of breaking this impasse with the funding for the Department of Homeland Security that has gone on now for 41 hours, 2 hours, 41 days, 2 hours, and about 37 minutes. It's really remarkable here that this is the first genuine movement. This funds everything at the Department of Homeland Security except funding for ICE and also a little bit of money.
The damage that the rhinos are doing, the deep state are doing, the Democrats are doing to this country is insane. I mean, we've at least stopped it from getting worse. And then again, if we can get a solid election, most of this isn't going to matter that much. As long as we get the criminals out and can get rid of them. So some House Republicans are a little pissed about what's going on. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about this as this dials in a little further. I think I got a couple more posts from these guys.
What are West Virginians saying to you about it?
My people, what they're telling me is to hold the line. That's what they're telling me. They're asking me to hold the line on this. I don't think anybody voted for us to defund ICE and not pass the Save America Act. That's not what they voted for.
Because the Senate sucks. Because they're cowards. Pussies. Or milquetoast pussies, as I think Scott McKay likes to call people. I like that one. That's pretty fun. Here's Speaker Johnson and Whip Emmer kind of slamming what's happened here. And yeah, they might go a slightly different direction than what the Senate expected, which could be funny.
I'd like to hear it.
Well, actually, I'll start out with our speaker is very unhappy. I'm not happy. Our whole leadership group, what the Senate did was, frankly, not right. We are going to make sure that border is funded. This is about making sure that President Trump's number one promise was that the border was going to be secure. He's accomplished with Republican leadership incredible things with the southern border. It has never been as tight as it is right now. But we are not going to allow these radical, anarchist, Marxist, socialist Democrats to literally stop or create an open border situation again like we experienced under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And we're going to make sure that we continue to deport criminal, illegal aliens. This is what Americans want.
But if there is a no vote in the House today, does that mean that the Senate has to come back to do it all over again?
The House will have a solution. That's as much as I can tell you. There'll be more on that very shortly. I think the leadership team with the Speaker has been working through this. Again, they did this at 3 in the morning, Stuart. Yep. Instead of doing it in the light of day when all of America can watch what's going on, they did this procedural move early in the morning. By the way, it sets dangerous precedents going forward. If you could take appropriations bills and start to take out pieces that you don't like, this will never end. So we're working through it in the House. We will have a solution, and the Speaker will announce it hopefully within the next hour or so.
I'd like to hear it.
And what that could mean is that it's different than what the Senate passed, in which case, like they say, the Senate would have to come back. Attorney General Pam Bondi is talking about denaturalization of fraudsters and criminals, and it's funny, I'm not going to play it because it's stupid, but she basically says we'd love to get some tougher laws from Congress on this. Folks, if we don't get elections squared away, we will never, ever, ever, ever solve our problems. Ever. What they want us to do is freak out and rush out on the streets. No. We got Trump at the helm. We're fighting this legally. We've got 5% of Congress that we can trust. Maybe. This is going to be the tough part, guys. We're going into it, and this is where things are going to start to get bumpy. What bumpy means exactly, we'll find out. O'Keefe catches Skid Row fraudsters paying homeless people to forge signatures on ballots. I feel like we've talked about this. Still want to kind of keep it on the front burner a little bit. Just straight up fraud. Hardcores. Totally illegal. Nothing about this is remotely legal. You're not allowed to pay for votes, period. You're not. Even in California, you're not allowed to do that. Believe it or not. We actually have. Believe it or not, there are some things that we do law-wise that's kind of cool. And then there's a bunch of crap that sucks. But anyway. Yeah, so they're paying some of them $2 to $3. Some were getting drugs. Anyway, we got proof of it. And this is going to continue. This is part of the problem. This is why they want people. And they're forging signatures of different people. They're using existing Social Security numbers, essentially, to vote. This is why they don't like to remove members from voter rolls. Dead people, people that shouldn't be there. They don't want to remove them. They've moved out. They use those voter rolls for as long as they can. And they just have homeless people vote that person's vote. I can't wait until we actually can get some accurate records of votes and votes. Well, I don't even, they don't log any information here in California. Like they've said, you're not even allowed to look for like if I pull an ID out, they literally will turn away and be like, put that away. We're not even allowed to see that or ask. Crazy. No, and that's true. Massachusetts' plan to replace taxpayers with migrants is, it's not working. And their attempt to raise taxes the way they have been, people are fleeing the state like mad. So they're actually like the 47th state with a net loss of 30,000 citizens. Massachusetts is dying. Dying. It's fantastic. And I don't know how much of that they can get out of the Red Sox. Frankly, I'm guessing not that much. So this is what's happening all the blue places. California just reported has a report that shows 477,000 illegals work just in San Francisco alone. This is insane. Bay Area Council Economics Institute. More than 477,000 undocumented workers in the Bay Area. 39% of all maids are illegals. That's just what's reported. They work at hotels, at restaurants, and construction. This chart here shows, they get a chart in there to show, but maids and housekeepers in the Bay Area are immigrants. 39% of them are undocumented. They're literally taking advantage of these people. This is slave labor. This is why they're doing it. And California is it's probably worth listening to. What the hell? He's going to repeat the little bit I said, but meh.
Mass deportations could cost the Bay Area $67 billion a year. That's according to a new report by the Bay Area Council. ABC 7 Eyewitness News reporter Suzanne Fahn is in the newsroom with a closer look. Suzanne?
So, Dan, the new report shows just how much of a difference immigrant and undocumented workers make for a local economy. Supporters say the report shows immigration enforcement is not just a federal issue, but also a local economic concern. New numbers show just how much undocumented workers contribute to the Bay Area economy. More than 477,000 undocumented workers call the Bay Area home. And undocumented workers in the region pay more than $8 billion in taxes a year.
This was a follow-up to our statewide study we released last June.
A new report by Bay Area Council Economic Institute shows that there are 2.5 million immigrant workers in the Bay Area. In the Mission District, many of the businesses are owned by immigrants.
The city of San Francisco and the Bay Area and California as a whole runs on immigrant labor. From the flowers, from the food, from everything is touched by immigrant labor.
The report also...
All right, that's enough of this. But yeah, so it's Channel 7, so they're trying to make it sound like the economy is going to stop working if we don't continue to use this illegal labor. There's nothing wrong with legal immigration to fill those jobs, is there? Why don't we consider that? There's a lot of people that work in those industries that aren't here illegally that would love a chance to come here. How about we do that? How about we get some of the ones that are illegal to maybe skirt their sweet little ass across the border and file and just act like they were never here? Dr. Oz just confirmed Gavin Newsom and California Democrats are likely complicit in this massive hospice fraud.
Start with something that is on all of your minds because we've been hearing from you about it, which is the fraud, the waste, and the abuse, which we believe is taking $100 billion out of our healthcare system. But more than the money, if you're willing to steal someone's cash, you're willing to steal their health and even their life. And we're witnessing this happen in states around the country. Our administration has sent letters to Minnesota, where you saw what happened with Somalians and others taking advantage of the system, an autism program that was supposed to be $3 million. They lied and got mothers to lie that their kids were autistic. That's now a $400 million budget. That's the tip of the iceberg. We've deferred a fair amount of money to them already to make sure that they fix some of the past billing they've done, but there's lots more going on. Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, has 1/3 of all the hospices in the entire country. Not California, literally in the entire country, 1/3 of our hospices are in Los Angeles. That's impossible unless you're literally looking the other way, pretending it's not happening. We're seeing fraud in New York State, where the number one job of all, Matt, the number one job of all is not retail. You think about Manhattan and Fifth Avenue, the number one job in New York State now is being a personal care assistant. Basically, you call up and say, I can't get the groceries upstairs. I want to hire my son. So the state hires your son. Federal taxpayers picking up a fair amount of the tab, most of the tab. And now that has become a jobs program in New York State, which I'm concerned about because we're hearing that unions are trying to get involved to unionize these folks, which just becomes a further grift on the system. And again, this is not a flaw for many. It's a feature of what they're doing. When they are able to do things that allow more individuals to get on these programs by law, when you sign someone up for Medicaid, you also have to offer them voter registration. So there's a lot going on here that explains why people have allowed this corruption to persist, but it's there nevertheless. And, you know, it's happening all over the country.
And just to give some context to that number, 30%. I mean, again, most of you probably get that, but say there's 1,000 of these hospice centers in the nation, all right, spread across the nation. 300 of them are in the city of Los Angeles. So, what, 700 are spread across the nation? Really? And then 300 of them? That's insane. The fraud, and it goes through the state. The state's getting money on it. Again, this is the rich people, the families are buying the businesses that are getting these monies. This is such a grift on the government. Has been going on forever, and it's just continued to expand. They've come up with different ways and new ways. That's why they do bond measures. That's why I'm saying every bond measure, the Save Children bond, vote no on it. I don't know if there is one yet, but they're going to call it something like that. The Clean Water Bond, the Save Children bond, the Make Children Happy Again bond. Bonds are borrowing, and lawyers get involved. They make all this crap. 80% of it goes, 90% of it goes to other stuff other than what the bond is for. They're lies. So that's where you got every one of you out there that's like, well, Dan, it says it's for the kids. I can't vote no on that. because that's your trigger word. So they know to use it. So they just push that stupid button all the time. People, like, if you just tell them it's for the kids, they'll do it. Won't even question it. And you all are so easy to manipulate sometimes. Even my dear good audience. A lot of us have beautiful, wonderful, huge hearts. And we're gullible as hell. We've got to stop this. We all, as individuals, need to wake up. Minnesota lawmaker claims she has halted overseas money transfers. I don't know if it's worth 3 minutes, but Krista Knudsen said in a fraud committee hearing that the Department of Human Services admitted it was not tracking IP addresses tied to funds leaving the state, claiming officially briefly enabled tracking for 2 weeks, discovered many transfers were linked to overseas computers, then shut the monitoring off. They realized there was something really bad happening, and they're like, ooh, let's not report that. That is complicity. That is acknowledging there's a problem and hiding the evidence. This is what happened in Minnesota. That's why Ellison and Walz are guilty. It's that kind of stuff. Now, will it drip all the way up to them? We'll see how far it goes. But it is coming. Like a freight train, they could say. Apparently, experts are saying they're getting a big amount of money back on their tax returns, which is pissing off all the naysayers.
As of March 13th, the average refund amount for individual filers was $3,623, up from $3,271 about a year ago, according to the IRS. That's a nearly 11% increase.
If you are falling into a specific category, like a senior who is getting an additional tax benefit or tax deduction, you may be seeing larger refunds because, again, that's a nice boost. The no tax on tips, no tax on overtime.
Yeah, all that good stuff. So people are seeing it in the place where it matters most. Turkey. So this, I think, explains the drop in gold price, which is interesting because I've just been tripping on this all along. I'm just like, what is this? So because it would indicate that somehow the dollar became more valuable. Usually, unless someone floods the market with a bunch of gold. Turkey, they dumped 58 tons of gold in a short period of time, right when the war started, which explains why the price of gold went way down. Now, once that supply is kind of gobbled up, if you will, prices are going to go back to where they were. And they're already going up, but today they were. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like, it's just amazing how much these things change in an hour. Oil was almost at $100. It might have broken 100. We'll see. I'm curious. I'm excited to actually switch to the next tab. Washington printed $39 trillion now. One asset is flashing a breakout signal. Yeah, silver they're talking about. Both of them are up. Well, we'll see when it reflects its newness. Okay, so we got some reflection of change there. So yeah, gold's up a little bit. It's not quite at 45 yet. 44.88. Cool number, by the way. Silver's at 69. It's up $1.50. Crude's at 98.40, which is a trip. Now, crypto was down earlier. Let's see if that held through. Yeah, it's still down. So Bitcoin's down at 66, which is weird. It got up to almost 75 there at one point. I was just like, wow, okay. Crypto's all over the place. XRP's at 1333. Kind of, again, cool number. But not good in the sense of where it was. It was up to $3. So crypto's in doesn't seem like it's getting anywhere near its high. Now, we'll see. Again, a lot of people are saying the same, especially there's a couple people that are just so hard on crypto that, they're like, price of gold, such a haven. It's like, we're going through a momentary thing right now, home dog. Crypto long-term has been weird, and gold and silver long-term have been steadily going up. So, I mean, come on. It's just funny. I know what's going on. I know the big picture. I just don't know how soft a landing Trump's going to be able to pull off for us. We'll find out. But if you got a 401k or an IRA 100% easy to move them over. 401ks, there's some questions they're going to ask, and it might matter on how possible it is to move. That said, there is a wonderful way that you can move tax-free, penalty-free, some of your money and protect it, the buying power, from your 401k IRA into a precious metals IRA, and they do it in its actual physical metals. They're physical metals that are yours, actually belong to you. And so again, and by the way, they're going to give you up to 10% free silver for doing this transition. Now again, you're going to move as much as you can over, and you're going to move as much of that into precious metals. And you can't touch it anywhere in that process, by the way, because if you do, you get taxed and penalized. You don't want to do that. Believe me, you don't want to do that. Everyone's like, but if they say if you don't have the precious metals in your hand, I get that. But we're talking about a 401k and an IRA. This is money that's not in your hand at all. If the money was in your hand right now, then yes, the precious metals need to end up back in your hand. If the money's not in your hand right now, that's kind of a different thing. So understand that. And this is, I think, one thing people don't understand just about this whole process is it's not in your hand. So don't look at it necessarily as that. What you're doing is you're protecting the buying power by having it in precious metals. And these metals, as we especially go through the craziness and the Fed and what's going on with the Fed and all this stuff, folks, there's a lot going on, and possibly China and Taiwan. There's a lot going on. The world's changing. It's changing for the better for sure. Europe's crashing now. A lot of Asia's having a very hard time right now because of gas prices. China's definitely going through a tough time right now, and we're sort of pinching them in a bad way. So a lot is happening. Our side of things is getting better, yes. I don't think the Fed's going to get better because we're still going in debt like mad. Almost $40 trillion in debt, guys. DRSlikesgold.com. 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 Get out of their system. Well, you can. Take that buying power with you because they don't want you to have it. Jim Jordan, he says, God bless the Attorney General for initiating the Brennan conspiracy investigation. This is actually a pretty good little bit they did. I think it's about 4 or 5 minutes.
Also breaking tonight, according to a new report, the DOJ, as John reported, is stepping up their investigation into the former CIA director, John Brennan. He's the one that was on MSDNC suggesting that he trusts Iran more than President Trump. But according to this report, the DOJ is now requesting House Intelligence Committee records related to Brennan, and House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan is with us now. All right, so the DOJ now has officially requested the Intelligence Committee records related to the former CIA director. What are they looking for here, and what are they likely finding?
Well, just what John said, Sean, is part of this conspiracy to go after President Trump when it all began back in 2016 when they used the dossier to change the intelligence community assessment. But understand what has happened. October 21st last year, the House Judiciary Committee sent a criminal referral letter to the Department of Justice. Then you had the Department of, you had the CIA, Mr. Ratcliffe, send information to the Justice Department, and ODNI Director Gabbard also sent information to the Justice Department. And now we have the Justice Department specifically asking the House Intelligence Committee for the transcripts when Mr. Brennan testified. That means, as John said, this is heating up down in Florida, where Jason Quinones is the U.S. attorney there, and maybe there's ultimately going to be some accountability for Mr. Brennan. And again, I underscore, this is when it all began. They changed the intelligence community assessment from December of 2016, when it said there was no conspiracy, no collusion between Trump and Russia to influence the election. 1 month later, they changed it, and they did it at the urging of John Brennan, and he lied to us about it when we were deposing him last Congress, and that's why we sent the initial criminal referral letter that we sent in October. So, yeah, I think it's getting serious here.
Let me be clear, because we're talking about career intelligence people that are not political. That's the rank and file. They came up with an intel community assessment that no, Trump did not collude with Russia. That comes out in December of 2016, after the election. Now, was it John Brennan that asked for a new assessment that came to a very different conclusion? Was Barack Obama involved in that decision? What about that meeting that we often talk about that took place at the White House?
Yeah, that meeting took place in early December after the initial assessments coming out. It was both. It was at the White House, and it was all the big players there, and they decided to do a new assessment. And here's what's interesting. One of the documents we got was from an analyst at the CIA, confronts Mr. Brennan and says, we can't use this dossier. It doesn't stand up. We can't say this is the basis for concluding Russia was trying to influence the election for President Trump. We can't use it. And Brennan's response was, yeah, but doesn't it ring true? just showing his bias and his bent on trying to get the president and undermine his whole first term, which is what this led to. Because never forget, this is where it started. And then it was Mueller, and then it was impeachment 1, and then it was impeachment 2, and then it was Alvin Bragg, Fonnie Willis, Jack Smith, and all the other crazy stuff they did to not only President Trump, but a bunch of other folks, including your text message and everything else. But it began here. And so God bless the Attorney General for initiating this conspiracy investigation down there and putting this unit together at the Justice Department to look into all of this. And now I think we're maybe, hopefully, finally going to get some accountability.
You know, the one thing that was the funniest when, fake news, CNN, MSDNC were covering me wall to wall, my text messages with Manafort and whoever else they released. The funniest thing is they concluded, wow, this sounds just like his monologues. He must really believe this stuff.
Exactly.
Does that imply they don't believe what they say?
Well, maybe,
at least
maybe
I can
so. Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe so.
But I know you believe what you say, and God bless.
Yeah. I mean,
you guys can shut up. You're just not talking about anything important. I mean, you're straight looking. Anyway, we are. It's such a fun little place right now. Apparently, Los Angeles has been forced to block freeway on-ramps. I guess we're going to have some sort of No Kings protest again. I don't know. I don't pay attention. I know I'm supposed to know all this crap, but some of this crap is just crap, right? How much time do you spend looking at crap? But I guess there's Saturday, huh? Scheduled for Saturday. No Kings. Interesting. So, yeah, they're literally barring up on-ramps and off-ramps to freeways. Why? Because cars going in and out can't happen anymore, and they're trying to keep people from walking onto the freeway. We'll see. Maybe it works, hopefully, because you obviously don't want Trump to send in the National Guard. I'm wondering if this is an attempt... Even maybe possibly, I wonder if there's white hat agitators. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say it out there. Because when agitation happens in peaceful protests and it destroys cities that don't properly deal with stuff like this, it looks bad on them. And it's not a natural disaster, and they're not attacking a federal building, but they're getting people fired up because people are easy to fire up. It's very, very easy to fire up. If you guys remember, one of the greatest mental images, but it worked and it was beautiful, was when Ray Epps, remember up the fence, right when they were really close to the Capitol building, and Ray Epps went up and had a little discussion at a person's ear, and then immediately they started shaking that fence and broke it loose or whatever, and that's what started the movement. Ray Epps is somebody I want to see. Cash, come on, anybody got any sort of ear to Cash Patel at all? Seriously, man. And hopefully it's already happening. But Ray Epps is definitely, he was a deep state actor. He was an instigator. And if he was working for the government, that mofo needs to go down. He needs to go down. And again, don't go to whose place. Don't do any of that kind of crap. It'll be done legally. Willie Brown's brutal reality check about San Francisco's sad decline. He basically admits, he's like, look, you guys can't be weak on crime. And Brown really never was. The world's a very different place now, by the way, when it comes to it. But he's basically admitting the progressive side of the Democratic Party is effing everything up. So this is good. We're starting to see the split happen. People that are... I was going to say trustworthy, but it's not, because Newsom's not. But Willie Brown's got a long track record in the state. He was the one that was banging Kamala Harris back when she was 29, 39. He was older. She was 29, yeah. And he was 59. Good for them. Good for them. Texas Attorney Ken Paxton announced that the development of a Sharia city designed to house 20,000 foreign nationals in Kaufman County, Texas, has ended. Following his investigation. It is not happening, not allowed to happen. That's over. So that's cool. A lot of you guys in Texas, that's a big victory. Justice Department close to finalizing a deal to hand over state voter rolls data to Homeland Security, sources are saying. But it's on the state side, I'm guessing. We'll see, because the Justice Department's not leaking this. But it is very likely that the other side of this agreement might be. So sometimes I wonder. There actually was a story, I've got it somewhere, where I was wrong. It happens. Not often, though. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more, frankly, to be honest with you, because there's so much crazy crap going on. I want to give a call out on this. I've given the guy a call out many times, and I'm not trying to crawl into his world because I almost don't want to. I think it'd probably be bad for both of us. But who knows? Maybe one day. But Jordan Sather's done a good job here. He's actually, everybody panics and comes up with crazy stuff. And Jordan's one like me that kind of calls it out more than I do. But he like me, sees it oftentimes. And it's pretty crazy and it's pretty annoying. And we watch it happen. So 3 weird cryptic posts came from the White House that were blurry, pixelated images. Actually, Jordan did a good job and figured out who they were. Now, what they are is they're all people within the executive branch, the upper executive branch, Marco, Vance, and Trump, all holding devices in their hands, phones or something to that, well, phones. And so this is something coming soon. They're like plugging this weird thing that's coming. Now, I will say, Jordan, good on you for calling yourself out, because I got a F up, I think, somewhere that I got to call out today. So it's fun when I'm just proud of you for doing it, because I think it's a big step. It takes big men to admit when they're wrong. So good on you, Jordan. But he actually thought it was going to be the alien stuff, because Jordan's been tied into the alien. That's kind of how I know him, is back from the UFO days. I've never been to any of that stuff, and the thing in the desert and all that shit. Never gone. I've had some very, very cool experiences, but I just don't, I'm not interested in chasing people. But yeah, the White House has been putting all this crazy stuff out. Supposedly, I don't know, people, the backwards music, and they're playing something backwards, right? Like, so it says Bob's your uncle if you play it backwards. I'm kidding. So yeah, Jordan Sather, here's where he says, better be aliens.gov or new Q posts, otherwise I will be bummed because of my own imaginary, ridiculous expectations. Good on you, brother. I mean, that's it. And that he's right. And I think unless he was just being really, really smart and framing it this way, which is brilliant too. But all of us, when we see these weird things happen, whatever our crazy belief is, the crazy thing we're fixated on, that's what it's going to be. Because that's the filter we're looking at life through. We all do it. Every one of us, self-included, right? What it's probably is this freedom.gov. And this freedom.gov thing is super cool because they're creating a portal that is controlled by the White House, freedom.gov, that's literally going to house information that has been taken down from other locations. So people in Europe can actually log into freedom.gov and see these things that have been taken down. And the European Union can't sue the White House. They can't. They can't use their laws against our government. Trump's got him by the short and curlies on this one. This is brilliant. Very cool. Chad Canera put this out. Canera, probably. Said, Ad Grok helped me out in the end, and it came up with this conclusion. So here we are, trusting Grok's conclusions. I fear for mankind. I can't tell you guys how often I see stuff that people say, well, I asked ChatGPT, or I asked some AI program, and this is what it said. Like, that somehow matters. Those things are wrong so much, man. I wish people understood it. Anyway, it's going to be a fun ride. For people like me, it's going to be a really fun ride. It's going to be like, well, you said don't eat it. I mean, you ate it. What? Yeah, but it should have said it louder. Fuck. It was written on the side. It was huge. Freedom.gov is the Trump administration's official U.S. government portal run by the State Department with DHS and CISA backend. Designed as a global free speech bypass tool, it lets users in heavily censored countries, especially Europe, China, Iran, etc., access content that's blocked locally, including what regulators call hate speech, terrorism, or other restricted material. Think of it as an official U.S.-backed, uncensored internet gateway with privacy features, no user tracking, possible VPN routing that makes your traffic look like it's coming from America, and a clean way to reclaim your human rights to free expression. They're going to have to block the U.S. government, which is going to be interesting. Oh, this is so good. All of this is just playing out well, right? This is crazy. That's all I can say. And it's got to be indicative of something
Did you hear about this black lion that just out of nowhere emerged onto the African savannas? And it is not only putting the scientific communities into a tizzy, but also the religious communities, because it fulfills apparently an ancient African prophecy from a guy named Kamporno Malanama from the Kenya part of the Africa. He lived, like I said, about 325 years ago, and he said he was known roundabouts as a prophet amongst all the local villager residencers. And he said someday in the not near distant future, a black lion will emerge from the daylight on our savannas and will roam with great majesty and will jump over things and lay down and might sniff a few trees. But he said, when this day happens, we look to the skies, to the heavens, he said, and he pointed to Orion's belt, and he said, our sky cousins will descend from that area of the heavens, and they will also emerge from our oceans, and they will let themselves known to all of us humanity worldwide humans, and they will elevate us to the next state of consciousness and show us the true meaning and our true potential. So I'm curious what you think of it, but I'll keep you updated as I learn more.
One of my larger concerns of it is the sky constellation Orion. A lot of the stuff that I've been hearing for a long time and understand as well, just readings and whatnot. So I don't know if I've ever, well, I definitely, yeah, anyway. The Orion group are generally affiliated with the negative side of things. So if this is true that they're coming from Orion, then yeah. And I think this is why there's going to be a war in heaven, and Golden Dome is meant to protect the planet. We ultimately have control of most of the nodes, if not all of them. And we are basically trying to get the rest of the people to be like, look, you either get on board or you're not part of the umbrella. Which I don't know if we could not guard the whole planet, but it's Trump to lead the deal, right? And by the way, when I first saw this, I thought it was Justin Trudeau, the old Canadian Prime Minister. I was like, that's Justin Trudeau? Oh, it's a lion. Oh. Only because he did the blackface thing, for those that didn't get the joke. Because a lot of my jokes are stupid. I know. Can't help myself. So this is sad story. I don't know if you guys have been following this one at all. Spanish girl, I guess. Just to cover her, it's a weird story. Noel Castillo Ramos. Your parents love you. They fall in difficult financial times. You are ripped away from them by the government. Your grandmother and mom are crying and begging. They bring 12 police officers to stop any resistance. You are placed in a teen shelter full of Muslim migrants. You aren't allowed to leave. The staff treats you like you are worthless. The Muslim teens decide to gang rape you. You think you will get help. Nobody comes. Nobody listens. They rape you again, with even more people this time. You try to report it. The women in charge of the shelter are woke liberals. They refuse to report it to avoid making Muslim immigrants looking bad. They won't do anything. You try to be happy. You can't move on. You jump from the 5th story of a building. By the grace of God, you live. You are injured, but you have hope. The state tells you about the option of euthanasia. You pass it off at first. The trauma keeps replaying in your brain. Still, nobody is helping. You feel hopeless. Spain is falling. You decide to do it because you feel worthless. Your dad fights to keep you alive for years. He loses in 2 different liberal courts. You are scheduled for euthanasia. The days pass. You do an interview, which is really a desperate cry for help. Still, nobody does. The date gets closer. They keep you isolated, so you have no idea there is so much love and support outside. Your best friend desperately tries to get up to talk to you. She is blocked by doctors who seem to take pleasure in the power they have. The process begins. You are alone and probably pretty scared. You feel like you have no choice. The sedative sets in. The last thing you see is a cold, dark hospital room. The toxin is administered. Your lungs slowly stop working. You die in your sleep. Your abusers still face no consequences. You become a monument to the failure of a state that was supposed to protect you. The saddest part, the woman actually begged to not go through the euthanasia. She says, I don't want to do this. I want to go. No. And what they told her was, and what they told the doctors as her father was trying to sue to save her life, they said, I'm sorry, you're an organ donor, and we've already set up situations for your organs to be transplanted at such a time because you're going to die right then, and we're immediately going to cut you open. They don't say it quite like this, but this is what's going on. And we're going to immediately take your organs and send them off to multiple people. We're killing you so we can save other people. Now, she was paralyzed. Not that that matters. They wouldn't let her because the organs were spoken for. So we're going to euthanize you anyway. Wow. House Ethics Panel finds 25 of 27 counts for that Sheriff Phyllis McCormick chick. Yeah, she's bummed. So when the House comes back to do whatever they're going to do, this is going to be an interesting thing. Like, this is pretty bad. So if she doesn't quit, which she should, then they'll have to look at maybe possibly removing her and something. Who knows? And the Democrats probably aren't going to support doing that. But it's like, she's busted stealing money from the government. And Democrats are like, yeah, that's what we do. What are you talking about? That's the cost of doing business, folks. Apparently, Mike Lindell was served legal documents on live TV. Oh, by the way, mypillow.com/OTF. Today is the last day for the sweet deal. So if you're watching this on Friday, 3/27, today is the last day. Get that order in before midnight, probably Minnesota time. Was that Central or Eastern? I think they're Central. Make sure, it's Central. Make sure, please, mypillow.com/OTF. mypillow.com/OTF. Anywho, yeah, Mike Lindell was live on the air and he got served. And he was like, I'm on the air. And anyway, I didn't see the video and I don't really want to, I don't care. I mean, Mike's Mike. He gets fucked with all the time. Iran-linked hackers breach FBI director's personal email. They published excerpts online and pictures and stuff. We've got some of the pictures that they did. Everybody loves to make fun of Cash if they get a chance. So anyway, yeah, he's sniffing stogies, smoking a stogie. He's having a good time, which, by the way, I have no qualms with. Good for you, buddy. Classic car, he's hanging out. I mean, good for you. Good for you enjoying a good cigar. I hope one day I can smoke a cigar again and not risk becoming a smoker. I've tried my friend's vape, and, it's like I get that little nicotine buzz, and I don't really crave. Like, it's weird. It's not the same thing as smoking cigarettes, that's for sure. But I don't know what a stogie would do. I love this product, guys. Healthy Home, and I'm telling you, incredible. Stem Active is funny. It's I was kind of just forgetting to take it for a while, and I actually started noticing the pain again. And I was like, Dad, come it. And I was like, you haven't been taking your Stem Active. It just helps. As we age, the number of stem cells our bodies produce minimizes. The stem cells are your healing cells. They're the cells that can become any other cell. They're amazing cells. Stem Active helps your body create 25 to 40% more of them, just like that. Get you back into the game, folks. It buys you some time. It helps you heal when you need some healing. So it actually made a huge difference. Started getting back on it like normal, and like literally within a week, I was just doing the same exercise today, and it didn't hurt at all. And I was like, all right, cool. Like we're good. And it's not like it got super bad, but it's just one of those things you just want to keep taking it. It's going to continue to do beneficial things, and actually people even notice after extended periods of taking it, not like 30 days, 60 days, like you're sleeping better and just a lot of strange things start to happen. So the Stem Active is a very, very powerful product. They have a gel, they have the pills. They also have it for pets, and it's like half the price, I think, of what you would pay. It's a chewable tablet for pets. It does the same thing, your little ones. Balance is something that's helping ladies that are going in and out of childbearing years. It's a pump. You put it on your wrist, you rub it. Whether you're on hormone replacement or not, synthetic hormones or whatever, this is something that I've heard from two different sides of things, and they're like both loved it. But Balance is literally bringing balance back to people's lives. It's helping you through this. It's plant-based. There's no hormones in it whatsoever. It is, like I said, you put it on here and you rub your wrists together and it absorbs from there, and you almost immediately start to feel it. And I've heard a bunch of people rave about how great it is. And it's how many clicks. They talk about the clicks, say how many pumps, basically. 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks. So you decide how many clicks, but it does make a big difference. Helps you with sleep, helps you with temperature, all that good stuff. Amaze is one of the best collagen supplements in the game. In fact, it's possibly the best. It's liquid. It's peptide. It's not something that you've got to mix. It's already mixed. Anything that you're stirring up in something, if there's any powder at all on the side of the cup, at all, when you're done drinking it, and you're like, it's just some of it doesn't dissolve. That's what happens in your stomach. And it creates almost like a paper mache in your stomach. It's not good. This is just liquid. And it's collagen. It's going to help your fingernails. It's just weird how quickly stuff like that grows. It's crazy. Finally got my hair cut, thank God. It's just going to grow back and soon. But the collagen is amazing. It helps with joints, helps with your skin. So any of you guys that's losing weight right now, collagen's also another good thing. As you age, collagen's another good thing. So again, one of the most important proteins in the body. Make sure you've got plenty of collagen, and it'll fix a lot of the stuff that we've got issues with. Prime just helps you get you more oxygen in your blood. It's a nitric oxide booster. It's just a good way to get a little extra energy. And you don't really notice it. You don't feel it. Like caffeine, you drink a little bit of caffeine, you're like, ooh, I'm starting to feel that. Like you can feel it if you're paying attention. I never felt nitric oxide. I always tripped on it after the effect. I'd be doing something, went up and down the stairs a few times, and I'm like, why am I not breathing heavy? I'd normally be dying right now. And I do time on the treadmill. It's just for whatever reason, going up and down the stairs, I'm still going to get a little winded. It wasn't happening the way. So it was weird. It was one of those things where that's how I noticed it. Couldn't feel it, but I'd notice it. Just gives you more energy. It's fantastic. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Once again, danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. There you go. All right, cool. Marco Rubio got a couple things he's talking about with Cuba, and I wanted to give him some time with the Cuba thing because he is Cubano.
So they can join the 21st century. It is sad that the only place Cubans can only be successful if they leave the country. That's a very sad thing. You see Cubans go all over the world and find success except in Cuba. That has to change. And for that to change, you need to change the people in charge, you need to change the system that runs the country, and you need to change the economic model that it's following. That's the only way forward if Cuba wants a better future. We've expressed that clearly and repeatedly over many years, and maybe now there's an opportunity to do it. We'll see. The economy needs to change, and their economy can't change unless their system of government changes. It's that simple. Who's going to invest billions of dollars in a communist country? Who's going to invest billions of dollars in a communist country run by incompetent communists? Which is even worse than communists. The only thing worse than a communist is an incompetent communist. And so their system of government has to change because they will never be able to develop economically without those changes. Economic change is important. Giving people economic and political freedom is important, but they come hand in hand. They come together.
Is there a deal?
I don't know why there's any confusion on that.
Is there a deal where?
It's so strange too how the media and all, the deep state. It's not strange. I don't know. I mean, you say it because it's like, how can you be against this? It's just so strange. But yeah, deep state is like. They're adamant about leaving Cuba communist. They love communism. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Moscow announces neighbors first energy policy. Who's going to get Russian oil and who's not? This is beautiful. Right now, the European Union, very deep state apparatus. And so I've mad love for European people. Okay. But you are heavily infiltrated with the deep state. And this is going to be a little painful getting you guys off of the deep state. And they are not going to let go easy. But it's coming. It's now. It's happening. And Europe's screwed. Energy-wise, Europe's getting rocked because of this Hormuz stuff. And they're getting screwed right now because Russia's like, we don't want to sell to you. We're going to sell to the people we want to sell to. Because you guys keep blowing up our ships, and some of you are dicks, so we're not going to sell to you at all. We're just going to sell people that we got pipelines to and stuff like that. Europe's screwed. Their price of gas is going to go through the freaking roof. South Africa was disinvited to the G7 summit. This is kind of funny. Supposedly, and this is alleged sources, but it is being leaked by Europe probably, so I think these alleged sources are possibly correct. But basically, the United States says, we're not going if you're having South Africa there. That's just stupid. No way. We're not going. We'll boycott. So they're like, all right, fine. And they got rid of them, and now they're bringing Kenya, which, by the way, great region to get coffee from. Kenyan coffee's delicious. Usually some nice citrus notes. Some spice. Spices don't usually come from there. Sumatra and stuff like that. Anyway. Olden days. Here's some Cooper saying some cool stuff about the A-10s, and it's cool to see the Apache going on out there. Especially if, I'm sure they got some of the longbows, the ones with the little dome on top. Those things are just epic. And they're using them heavily. The Apaches, I think they're using more along the shoreline. The A-10s are using out against the Navy boats. I mean, it's just perfect airframe for that kind of stuff. And I think, have some pictures. Maybe I didn't save them, but some pictures of it all blowed up. It was kind of fun. This thing takes a licking, man, and it'll still come back home. There was one where its whole back engine looked like it got hit by a SAM probably. It blew out the entire engine. Just blew the hell out of the entire engine. Whole side of it was just gone. Other engine was still fine. It's got doubles or backups and even tertiary backups in some cases of hydraulics and crap like that. It is amazing. The thing still got home. There's one where it's just shot across the cockpit area there, and cockpit's got a titanium bathtub around it. Oh, it's just incredible. Anyway, stuff.
Destroying Iran's ability to project power outside of its borders. The A-10 Warthog is now in the fight across the southern flank and is hunting and killing fast attack watercraft in the Straits of Hormuz. In addition, AH-64 Apaches have joined the fight on the southern flank, and they continue to work on the southern side, and that includes some of our allies who are using Apaches to handle one-way attack drones. In Iraq, AH-64s have been striking against Iranian-aligned militia groups to make sure that we suppress any threat in Iraq against U.S. forces or U.S. interests. Destroying Iran's...
Apaches are extraordinarily capable aircraft, pretty well armored. You've got a gunner up in the front, and he's got a helmet that's tied to the gun on the front, so whatever he looks at, it's directly... it's aimed on exactly, precisely. It's very, very cool. And they've got quite a bit of armament that they can bring. Even they can pop a couple sidewinders typically, or if they got something else, but typically sidewinder, you can pop one on each side. So this thing is quite a formidable attack craft. Again, and it's got a nice, I want to say it's a 20 millimeter gun up front, but it is a whopper. Not quite like this GAU 7 or whatever it is, man. This thing's 7 barrels, 30 millimeter. It's literally, so it can shoot something like 3,300 rounds per minute. It literally carries like 1,100 rounds total, which means it's got 20 seconds of fire. You hold the trigger down for 20 seconds, that's it. So when it goes, it's using a second of ammo. So it's like hoping it can shoot 20 times. Half a second of ammo. But when you hear it just go, just understand it's got about 20 seconds of total ammo. These things are awesome. Oh, they're awesome. It is funny. It's a craft they've tried to get rid of over and over and over. And it is a craft that continues to show how incredibly important it is on the battlefield. It's a beautiful craft. Changes everything. A-10 Warthog is gorgeous. Many say it's ugly as hell. No, not with that big giant GAU sticking out of its mouth. This is a gorgeous craft. They're kind of slow. Like in a flight sim, they're not fun to play per se. You really got to play them properly to play them, but it's like playing a rogue or something. But they're awesome. They can carry a butt ton. Yeah, here's some of the stuff. Look at this. Look at this crazy picture. Blew out the entire side of the engine, man. This thing's still going. Look at this. Like just shot up the whole side of it. That craft made it home. Look at that. It got shot. Like what? You do that to an F-35. You sneeze on an F-35 while it's flying, and it will crash. It's not that bad, but I mean, yeah, this guy's missing some landing gear, it looks like. Look at this one. This one's, oh my God. But he got home. Again, this is one of the most badass aircraft ever made. Ever. Look at all the shit they're taking on the front of that wing. Is it the front? Yeah, it looks like it. These are just well-made aircraft. I'm so glad I had those pictures. Donald Trump truthed this out. As per Iranian government requests, please let this statement serve to represent that I am pausing the period of energy plant destruction by 10 days to Monday, April 6th, 2026 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Talks are ongoing and Despite erroneous statements to the contrary by fake news media and others, they are going very well. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, again, I saw now the Wall Street Journal, from alleged sources, is even going further with the number of boots on the ground. So now the story is 10,000 boots on the ground. Now, again, we do have a Marine amphibious group that is either there or close to being there. I have not reported it. I've seen so many people run with this as a fact that we're going to put boots on the ground because of this Wall Street Journal news source. It is a crap source. Even Carolyn Levitt called out Wall Street Journal specifically for being bullshit. Not for that particular story or any story. Can neither confirm nor deny anything, and they're going to do it that way, but it's crazy. EU is accusing Hungary of pro-Russian espionage now. There you go. So is Hungary going to get kicked out? See, Hungary's not playing the game properly. This is brilliant what's going on right now. We are living in fabulous times. Marco Rubio calls out Zelensky for lying on the security guarantees. This was the story I was wrong on. I actually thought this was true. I actually thought we did tell him, hey, look, get out of the Donbass. There you go. We got you. I thought that was legit. So I was wrong on that. I felt that, and it was because of confirmation bias. I believed that was the ultimate end goal, that Russia was going to kind of keep that whole eastern portion of Ukraine because they all want to be Ukrainian. So whatever the case is, but Marco Rubio's like, you're a dick, dude. That's not what we said.
The U.S. tells Zelensky that security guarantees depend on withdrawal from Donbass.
That's a lie. And I saw him say that, and it's unfortunate he would say that because he knows that's not true, and that's not what he was told. What he was told is the obvious. Security guarantees are not going to kick in until there's an end to a war, because otherwise you're getting yourself involved in the war. Okay, what is a security guarantee? It is troops that are willing to step in and secure. If you put that in place now, that means you're injecting yourself in the war. What he was told very clearly, and he should have understood it, is that the security guarantees come only after there is an end to the war. But that was not attached to unless he gives up territory. I don't know why he says these things. They're just not true.
What is the U.S. position on Donbass?
We've told the Ukrainian side what the Russians are insisting on. We're not advocating for it. We've explained it to them. It's their choice to make. It's not for us to make for them. We've never told them they have to take it or leave it. The role we have played is to try to figure out what both sides want and see if we can bridge the middle ground. The decision ultimately is up to Ukraine. If they don't want to make certain decisions or certain concessions, then the war keeps going.
Yeah, and we're not going to keep paying for it. Like, you guys want to keep fighting? All right, we're not supporting it anymore. You're going to keep fighting without our help, right? As long as you're understanding that, cool. Have a good one. Rock and roll. Historic European Parliament votes signals a realignment on the migration thing. They're actually talking about getting deportation action going on. They rejected controversial mass surveillance of private communications known as the chat control. No, we're not letting you do this, Europe. They also moved forward on dropping tariffs on key U.S. goods. Isn't that interesting? It seems that Brussels is losing power. Is the world finally doing something? Donald Trump's signature is apparently going to be added to our currency for a little while, I guess. I don't know. I'm just telling you. I don't want to play the 15 seconds. I kind of think it's stupid, to be honest with you. If he gets on the $250 bill, yeah, his signature should be on that. I don't know why it needs to be on all the money. Unless, well, okay, let's go back for a second. Unless that's indicative that Treasury's taken over monetary from, anyway, it could be the actual president signing the money now. That's probably got something to do with that. Judge blocks Trump's admin. Judge is saying that they can't say Anthropic is a supply chain risk. Whatever. I'm going to judge blocking that, which I think is very interesting. You know, if the military decides that something's a supply chain risk, judge doesn't have any say over that, even if it's an American company, especially if it's an American company. So anyway, whatever. Judge Rita F. Lynn, is Biden appointee, the Northern District of California, granted Anthropic PBC's motion for preliminary injunction. Whatever. It'll be appealed and all that nonsense. And it's fine. I'm sure waiting. They didn't stop us from canceling with them and all that. We just can't call them a supply chain risk for the moment. Anyways. which is just going to be so. Anthropic's going to be an interesting stock, whether you're not holding it or not. But anyway, Google is now changing news headlines without permission. People that post stuff on any of the Google sources, you might actually find that your article's been changed. Some are pissed, of course. And rightly so. Like, hey, what would you change? Why? Like, give me what? Did you run some tests? Because you can do some tests and stuff. I don't know if there's permissions that you give, or if it's people that are using like Google's AI or something like that. I don't know. I don't know exactly how this kind of stuff happens. I like my website. I never change it, pretty much. I mean, it's updated and whatnot, but it's not. Airgas declares force majeure on helium shipments as Qatar production collapses. This whole thing going on in the Middle East, it's kind of a trip how that's playing out. It's literally affecting helium too, which I guess is done by this liquid natural gas production. This might be one of the components that breaks off from it. Helium is basically when you get two hydrogens together, creates helium. And it generally ends up with a couple neutrons at that point. So it's a much more complex product than hydrogen, typically. But in that breaking process, I'm sure a lot of this happens. You get that helium gas. They are a third of the world's supply of helium, and it's used in microchip manufacturing as well, amongst many other things. So this will be interesting to see what happens. I believe we are also, well, used to be anyways, we used to be the only, I thought, creator of helium at one point. That was why Germany was using hydrogen, the Hindenburg, even though a lot of stories around how that was just a bunch of bullshit. But whatever the case was, it is what it is. I don't know. The long story short, this is just an intro. I'm going to play this. What the hell? We're fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's worth it. It's this whole Savannah Guthrie missing case thing is just crazy. And it is, this guy is basically suggesting it points to someone close. I've kind of said that before too. I'm not saying I was right. I've kind of been not all over on this. It's never made any sense. None of this has ever made any sense. Everything about this doesn't make sense. And what I liked is what this dude's saying is like, yeah, that's like a lot of the shit that doesn't make sense. Like, this doesn't make sense. And it does, I'm not an expert, but it does, like they say, point to someone closer. Something's weird about this. This just doesn't. And anyway, let's play this. I think it's worth it.
Stuart, when you hear her say the door was open when they first found out the mom was missing, why are we hearing about this now?
You know, Jesse, I watched this interview several times, in fact, multiple times today with some of my colleagues, and we really tore it apart. And for the life of us, there are a lot of questions, a lot more questions than answers. And I don't have an answer for why we are just hearing about the back door. But let me just quickly go through several points. Number one is Savannah Guthrie tells us that when her sister calls her, first calls her, Savannah goes, "You better call the police." Well, the sister says, "No, the police are here already." You know, Jesse, using common sense, if a loved one goes missing, the first thing you're going to do is call or text the people that are closest to that person to find out if you've heard from that person. That in and of itself seems a little odd to me as to why the sister or brother or anybody did not reach out to Savannah Guthrie prior to calling the police or while they were waiting for the police. There's about a 12-minute gap between the time 911 is called to the time the police arrive. That's number one. Number two is, this would be the last scenario of an 84-year-old lady who has physical limitations that anybody would contemplate kidnapping for a ransom. There was nothing that would have been consistent at the very onset to lead anybody to believe that Nancy Guthrie was the target of a kidnapping for ransom. That statement in and of itself causes me to now have a lot of questions as to how someone would have even gotten to that point from just being on the phone prior to showing up. Number three is Savannah Guthrie offered later on in her interview with some very specific facts that her mother left the house in her pajamas without her shoes. How did Savannah Guthrie know that at the time her mother left the house, she was clothed in her pajamas without her shoes on? That leads me to believe that law enforcement perhaps has other video that, quite frankly, they have not disclosed. Unless Nancy Guthrie only had one pair of shoes in that house, how would anybody be able to know that she left the house without her shoes on. That's a very specific material fact, and it caused us to pause and wonder. There's a lot of things that we just don't know.
You know, you bring up three really interesting observations. I don't, you know, I'm not an investigator, but you know how these things go, and I can't explain the things that you're raising either. The notes, the two notes, she says, she still believes those weren't hoaxes. Well, what does that tell you?
She not only said that two of the ransom notes with specificity she believes are real, she actually also suggested that it was one kidnapper. She never refers to individuals, meaning plural. If you go back and listen to her interview, she talks about one person. And so that leads me to believe that in those ransom notes, and again, there may have been some clues within those notes. By way of example, we took your mom in her pajamas. You will notice that those pajamas are not there. We took her without her shoes. Her shoes or her slippers are still by her bedside. And so there is some specific facts that are known to law enforcement that, quite frankly, they're keeping very close to the vest. I will just say this to you, that this interview, I don't think helped the investigation. In fact, if anything, I think it may have hurt. I think it also may have hurt their credibility, because there are just things that just, quite frankly, don't add up. And statistically, these cases generally lead back to someone who's within that inner circle.
Wow, that's a strong statement, Stuart. We'll see how it plays out. Why would, putting the credibility issue aside, why would this interview hurt the investigation?
I'm not saying that it hurts the investigation, but I do believe that less is more, because the more information you let out to the general public, and obviously there is an individual, at least one individual, because we saw them on that Ring doorbell, it gives that person an individual to backtrack and perhaps cover his or her tracks. And so what my suggestion would be is that less is more, allow the investigation to run its course. I don't see any benefit to Savannah Guthrie going on national TV and kind of, you know, opening herself up. Look, it is very upsetting. Clearly, this is a devastating situation for this family. But I'm not so sure that the investigators are in any way supportive of Savannah Guthrie going on a talk show to kind of lay out certain material relevant facts. By way of example, pajamas without her shoes. And by the way, Jesse, if you go back, I believe that Savannah Guthrie said that she heard my mother said was begging for mercy. Now, I don't know if that's her interpretation, or is there a recording that was her mom pleading for mercy when she was leaving the house with whoever.
I've not heard any credible people. I mean, maybe content creators. I don't know. I don't listen to everybody, so maybe somebody you guys have listened to. Not that I want to watch them per se, but one thing that's bothered me tremendously about this is there's this assumption or presumption or talk about how there was this vehicle that was a suspicious vehicle that was in the area. So we've all been led to believe that they scoped out the house prior, right? Or person or many people, whatever. But they didn't see the Ring doorbell or whatever the camera was that the dude figured out immediately. Like, if I'm going to go do something and I know they got a Ring doorbell, am I going to, like, okay, when I get there, I'm going to go find some daisies in the front yard, and then I'm going to come and I'm going to try to arrange them around the camera? Why? That is the most bizarre behavior ever. If I know there's a camera, wouldn't I just come and put tape over it or something? Color it with a Sharpie? I don't know. A few things. I don't know. It's just I'm spray paint, I guess, but that's a lot to carry with you. I mean, I feel like a little bit of tape or Sharpie go a long way. Daisies? Flowers from the garden? Are you shitting me? None of this makes sense. This whole thing is the weirdest fucking thing ever. I think Guthrie's in on it. I hope they catch her. I hope they do. I don't know if they tried to shit their mom off or something to get rid of her because she was so sickly. They're like, we can't take it anymore. So we're going to say she got abducted by aliens. No, that's too stupid. We can't do that. You sure? I think we could do it. No. We said there's been drone sightings. No, we can't do that. That's too crazy. Maybe. Ooh, what about this? How about one of you guys take her to the euthanasia place and we'll claim that she, got abducted. These people are crazy. I don't know what the fuck. God help us all. I love you guys. I do. I promise. Some of these people out there are a little strange. I'm just going to say a little strange. We'll see. I've got a great music show today. It's actually about 3 hours from now, which is cool. I'm ahead of schedule in a big way, which is fantastic. It's going to be a great Friday. I'm going to go play video games for like an hour and a half or something stupid. Be fantastic. Before I get to rock and roll with you guys. We got some really good music, though. I got like Everclear. We got Toad the Wet Sprockets, Matchbox. Who's the other one I duplicated? I got a couple of them accidentally. I didn't mean to. Collective Soul. Got a couple of them in there. What else do I got? Got some good stuff, man. Like weird bands that you maybe haven't heard of, but you'll hear the song and you'll be like, that's totally cool. And then I work in some stuff all over the place. I got Styx. I got Dave Matthews. I got everything. I'm covering it all over the place. Kind of good stuff. Good stuff. You're going to have a good time with us. It's 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. Always do live. It's just fun. The people in the comments are cool. And comments is not the same thing, or chat is not the same thing as the comments in the video. Like the chat disappears, actually, after the show. So whatever's in there is in there, and it goes away afterwards. So you never get to see it after the effect. I put it on the screen so you can kind of see it. That's why I do it. So it's real for everybody else. But anywho, all said, a lot going on. Things are happening in the world for a reason. The deep state's being choked from money. Iran was a huge part of that. The oil from Iran, all that stuff. We are choking out the deep state. And I think it's affecting the parts of China that need to be affected. I think Xi has probably made some side deals for the People's Republic through other avenues, maybe Russia, the deals he's made with Russia. Again, I think there's two components to China, and one of them's being suffocated right now. This is way larger than anybody gets, and it's happening. It's fun, actually, but it's kind of weird to go through. So we'll keep talking about it. I'll hang out with you guys through it. We'll be okay. I'm just holding a flashlight. Where you? The bathroom? Yeah, it's just up that way. There you go. I love you. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.